Good afternoon, everyone. Sorry we're a little late. We got busy day here today, but excited for our lots of good presentations today. Very excited about where we are today. But first, we're going to call the meeting to order. Madam Clerk, could you read the roll, please?
Good afternoon. Mr. Bailey,
Here.
Mr. Brown,
Here.
Ms. Herbert. Here. Dr. Bustles. Here. Mr. Brennan,
Present.
Mr. McDowell, Mayor Rickaman.
Here. If you could stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, please. Before we do the invocation, I want to take a point of personal privilege to introduce a group of students who I had the privilege of meeting with, USC City Advocacy Commission. And I asked them to stand and come to the podium. This is a nonpartisan advocacy group within the student government. They serve as liaisons between city officials and students. They conduct research and survey students about issues that matter most. And then they construct a report with their findings. I met this group. Not only are they impressive, but they have some great ideas, and I'm excited to attend their Town and Gown event this spring where they'll present their 23-24 report. And I hope my city council colleagues will be able to join us. I want to introduce their director, London Patel. London. Jonathan, Daniel, McKinley, Rachel, Lacey, Caitlin, Riley, Anastasia, and Olivia. Y'all all here?
I think it's just us three
Just
today.
the three. Well, I wanted to, have them an opportunity just to say a few words, but just want to tell you, this is our future. This is a makeup of young people from freshmen until seniors that are engaged in the city, and they came to us to talk about things they were concerned about. Cost of housing, lighting, safety, how to engage, how do they deal with parking. Students are worried about parking. Neighborhoods always talk about parking, but the students are too. But really making a difference. And so I wanted them to have an opportunity, to come forward and just say a few words, but also for people to understand we're engaging constantly. This group is out of USC, but we also have a group of the Collegiate Council of Engagement. And these are young folks from every college and university in our community that meet with me and staff on a monthly basis to talk about issues, how to integrate in our community, how to be part of Columbia, but also learn what Columbia has to offer, because we are the greatest city in South Carolina, period. Yeah, y'all can clap. It's okay. Come on. But with that, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mayor Rickaman. Again, my name is London Patel. I'm currently the director for the City Advocacy Commission here at the University of South Carolina. This is a branch within government relations, and government relations has three branches: a city branch, a state branch, and a federal branch. We are here on behalf to present to you from the city branch, and our 5 main topics include community engagement, community safety, on and off campus housing, parking and transportation, and health and sustainability. So again, thank you all for taking the time out of your day to hear from the University of South Carolina so we can serve as liaisons between the student body and the City of Columbia. I'll pass it on to Bodie and Olivia to introduce themselves as well.
Hi, thank you for meeting with us. I'm Olivia Smeltzer. I'm from Chicago, Illinois, and my major is criminal justice. And this is my second year in City Advocacy Committee.
Hello, everybody. I'm Jonathan Daniel. I'm from Beaufort, South Carolina. I'm a political science major, freshman at UFSC, and I'm the leader of the Community Engagement Committee.
In the absence of our faithful leader, Reverend Ed McDowell, we're going to pass the torch to Mr. Peter Brown to do the invocation.
Thank you, Mayor. Please bow your heads. Dear Lord, we hear your words. We feel your presence. We feel your power and wisdom. Let us be one with your vision and hope for the city of Columbia. Bless this council to be united and purposeful and to act for the benefit of all of your people in Columbia. As we venture into the year of 2024, let us forge a pathway toward the success of our great city. Our future is bright, and we are poised to make a difference and change the outlook of Columbia. Please bless our staff as they support this council and our citizens who are the true meaning behind all of our work here in the capital city. In your name we pray, amen.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to take a moment of personal privilege, if council would indulge. Currently, right now, today, there's a federal hate crime trial going on at the federal courthouse of a 24-year-old Black woman, transgender woman named Dime Doe. As everybody should know, South Carolina is only one of 2 states without a federal hate crime bill. I've been getting a lot of calls from constituents concerning a hate crime, and I thought it was pertinent to remind the public that the city of Columbia does have a hate and intimidation bill that was passed in September of 2019. Mayor Rickman was on that council along with Reverend McDowell, and I believe Councilman Brennan was on that as well. And local governments are really leading the charge with hate crime legislation. In addition to Columbia, you have Bluffton, Charleston, Greenville, and Mount Pleasant have all adopted hate crime ordinances. Florence just recently issued a resolution encouraging the state to pass a statewide hate bill, and they also did a first reading of their ordinance. And so I just want people to know that the city of Columbia cares about any crimes that are being conducted by people who have racist or bigotry in their heart and will. And we want to encourage, or personally, I want to encourage the State House to do what other local governments have been doing across the state, and that is pass a statewide hate crime bill. Thank you.
Sir. That, Madam City Manager, we're going to move for a motion to adopt the agenda as presented.
Yes, sir.
Are there any questions, changes, comments? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll, please? Guess we need a second on that motion.
Yes.
Second.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert? Aye. Dr. Bustles? Aye. Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
At this time, Mayor Rickaman and council, the public who may have any input related to the items on the agenda as you have adopted may speak at this time, and these individuals would be allowed up to 3 minutes to address city council about items on the agenda other than those items that require a public hearing. When there's a public hearing started, those items under that public hearing can be addressed at that time.
Madam Clerk?
No one has signed up to speak at this time.
Well, good. Then that means we're going to move on to approval of minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of February 6, 2024 work session and council meeting?
Motion to approve.
Is there a second? We got a motion and a second. Any changes, questions, concerns? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
And I apologize. I'd like to amend that to remove the work session. It should just be the council meeting.
Okay?
You accept that
Accepted.
amendment? Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
All right, Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert? Aye. Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am. And once again, we are adorned today with the Greenview Park Senior Club Old School Choir. Ladies, the floor is yours.
There's a gentleman's for Kinley in there.
I can't even see from over here.
And gentlemen. Now, all you folks who don't come to our meetings on a regular basis, you see what you're missing now, right? Next month, we're having Earth, Wind, and Fire, but they just called and said that they're afraid to follow that act. So, ladies, thank y'all. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here and enlightening us with that. What a great way to start a meeting. Thank you so much. Yes, ma'am, you may run.
Well, Mr. Mayor, that was a wonderful segue. Y'all may want to stay for this, for the approval of some honorary street naming resolutions. One, the first is in regards to the Zion Baptist Church Square, and the other is Columbia's historic Black Business District. So, Mr. Mayor, item number 3 is resolution number R 2024 007, approving the honorary naming of the intersection of Gadsden Street and Washington Street, Zion Baptist Church Square. I know Councilwoman Herbert had a big part in getting this
Absolutely.
on the council
And
agenda.
if everybody, before we, I'd like to get a motion to approve and a second. We got a motion and a second. I'd like to read the resolution, and then Councilwoman Herbert will present the official sign to the church. So whereas Zion Baptist Church has been the apex of Black Wall Street in the downtown business district of Columbia, South Carolina, over 157 years and has made a difference in the community. And whereas Zion Baptist Church has played and continues to play an intricate role in the civil rights movement, and it's the launching point of the annual King Day at the Dome Rally, which is held on Martin Luther King Day. This event began on the front steps of Zion Baptist Church in January of 2000 and culminated into a rally where people have gathered to exercise their voice and have a collaborative effort for the purpose of peace and justice in our community. And now and therefore, may it be resolved today, the 20th of February, 2024, that the mayor and city council of the city of Columbia hereby approve the honorary naming of the intersection of Gadsden Street and Washington Street to be known forevermore as the Zion Baptist Square. Pastor, elders, deacons, sisters.
I should be in the mic, but I'm not, Ms. Erica. Can everyone from Zion Baptist stand that's here today?
All the Zion Baptist Church members.
You can give it to us and we walk over there.
Okay, she told me I'm gonna give my comments. And we're gonna walk over there.
Pastor, give his.
First of all, I wanted to thank the church and thank all the folks that came out. You all are so important to the history of Columbia. You were holding our feet to the fire for years, and you are yet still holding our feet to the fire. This was very important to me. We had a meeting several months ago at the church, and y'all were holding our feet to the fire. But for me, it was particularly special. And I don't know if y'all remember, but I had two teachers in the audience. And one was Maxine Pearson. Don't tell her I said Maxine. But Maxine Pearson was my teacher, and my dearest Kathy Hope. And Kathy Hope taught both me and my daughter Asada. There are very few people who survived both of us at Sanders and Keenan, but Kathy Hope survived, and she recently passed during this process. So this is bittersweet, but I'm doing it for her, and y'all are doing it. That's my perception on my side. It's definitely for the history of it, but that's also why it meant so much to me, because I'm still trying to be a good student like I was. I was a good student at Keenan and Sanders. I'm still trying to be a good student.
Y'all don't believe that now, do you?
Well, I made good grades. But I would like for, if Pastor doesn't have anything to say,
Come on now, you gonna have pastor
because I
not
don't know
say
a
anything?
pastor that doesn't.
I promise you I'll be brief. I do want to say thank you to Mayor Rickman, to Councilwoman Herbert, and to the entire council for approving this. How fitting that you're going to honor Zion Baptist Church during Black History Month and during HBCU Day. Thank you, Mother Kavanaugh Williams, and all of the historical committee for making this responsible, and we're so grateful. Until we get to heaven, we can drive by Zion Baptist Church Square. So thank you so much. I would like to invite you to our celebration. We're going to celebrate this great honor on the first Sunday of March. the first Sunday of March, which is March the 3rd, from 1 p.m. to 3 p.m. In the Zion Baptist Church,
1 to 1:30.
1 to 1:30. I apologize. There's going to be a ribbon cutting and food and fellowship in the Zion Baptist Church Fellowship Hall. Again, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Council, for approving this.
Thank y'all for being, before we take a picture, we're going to actually vote on it and make it official, if you're okay with that. Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles? Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Come on, everybody. You may have to call her up. Or the historical society.
Huh?
Ms. Williams and the historical society.
Ms. Williams?
Well, no, I got notes in the historical. The church has like.
Madam City Manager?
Yes, sir. And the next related resolution, Mayor recommending council, is resolution number R 2024-009, approving the honorary naming of the 800 to 1100 blocks of Washington Street, Columbia's historic Black Business District.
So moved.
Got a motion, is there a second? Got a motion and a second. I'm going to read this resolution, but probably the person who knows the history better than anybody in this room, Dr. Donaldson, thank you for continuing to preserve the history and making sure we're getting recorded. And thank you all that you're doing for our community. We appreciate it. This one's going to take a little bit now, so y'all be patient with me. Whereas the 800 block of Washington Street houses one of the Columbia's oldest African-American churches, Zion Baptist Church, with a congregation dating back to 1865 and a historic structure listed on the National Registry of Historic Places, has played a key role in numerous historic events and movements in Columbia. Matilda Evans held multiple clinics at the church. Victory Savings Bank hosted shareholders meetings there. Students gathered at the church to engage in demonstrations, including the one at the South Carolina State House, which led to the Supreme Court case Edwards versus South Carolina. Whereas in 1955, under the leadership of Dr. Henry Dobbins, Monteith, Victory Savings Bank constructed a new bank building on 919 Washington Street, where it's remained until 1985. The 900 block of Washington Street also included a brick building that once housed the Robert Simmons Blacksmith, Wheelwright, and Auto Mechanic Shop. This building prominently featured in the images of the acclaimed photographer Richard Samuels Roberts. Whereas the 1,000 and 1,100 blocks of Washington served as the district's main corridor, many businesses were located in this area, to include the North Carolina Mutual Building, Fanny Land's Hairdresser, Pinckney's Funeral Home, Blue Ribbon Taxi Club, Count's Drug Store, Victory Savings, Phoenix Care, Nathaniel J. Frederick's Law Office, Regal Theater, Richard Samuel Roberts Photography Studio, Dr. Henry Cooper's Dental Practice, the Prince Hall Mosaic Lodge, as well as many other businesses. Whereas as a result of urban renewal, many African Americans were pushed out of the downtown Columbia. There are a few structures remaining today. They include Zion Baptist Church, the North Carolina Mutual Building, the Pearson Funeral Home, and Victory's Savings Building. Whereas organizations have worked to preserve and interpret the history of the district, Zion Baptist Church, the North Carolina Mutual Building, Pearson's Funeral Home, and the Nathaniel J. Frederick Home have been listed on the National Registry of Historic Places. These historic districts have been included on our tours and websites. In August of 2023, the intersection of Main Street exhibit was on display at the Columbia Museum of Art. So here be it resolved today, the 20th of February, 2024, that the mayor and city council of the city of Columbia hereby approve the honorary naming of the 800 to 1100 blocks of Washington Street as Columbia's Historic Black District. The design and the color of the honorary sign shall be subject to the approval of the Director of Public Works. But guess what? We already picked them out. So that part's done. With that, this is a great opportunity for us as a city to recognize a stretch and make sure that we don't forget our history and that we learn from our history, but we also forge in the future and taking what we've learned and what we've seen and making sure that we continue to preserve the history. You know, for somebody whose family didn't come to the U.S. until the late 60s, I learned more and more about Columbia every day. And what amazes me about Columbia is it played a role in history in every part of American history, but it played a significant role in the civil rights movement. And when you look at what we're doing today with the work Dr. Donaldson's doing with SC 63 and what's gonna be coming down the pipe, and if you haven't been, there's a beautiful display going on at the Columbia Museum of Art that you should go see. The future project, I don't know, I might not even be able to talk about this. Am I allowed to talk about it? Dr. Donaldson, Booker T. Washington, and what's going to happen with the new center being built there and the preservation of that and a new center next to it that's going to be a tourist that will be able to tell our story in this community about the impact it had. You know, I don't want to take away from Montgomery, Alabama, but I'm going to tell you what, Columbia, South Carolina played a role a lot of times first and we didn't get the credit. But we're not going to forget about those folks and we're not going to forget about our history and we're going to continue to grow and that's what's going to make us the #1 city in South Carolina. With that, Councilwoman.
And I just wanted to add, I wanted to thank Historic Columbia for their assistance and their support in making sure that we're able to do all of the things that we've been able to do with the museum and Dr. Donaldson's work. And then I wanted to ask if there were, I'm not going to call names, but if there are any ancestors of any of the business owners from the 1920s to 1949 in the building, I would like for you to stand. I know I see at least one, two, and we just, is that Aubrey Jenkins back there raising his hand? I think it's, you know, with the issues that we're dealing with our youth and our children, it is so critical for them to know their history. And so to me, this is just the start, Mayor. This is the first thing we're doing. There's several things that are in the works that will be coming up. And I too don't want to get in trouble, but this is just the beginning. That's what I want you all to know, because we need to make sure that all of our kids know about the history. You know, we have a vision that they can come and do field trips to come and see the markers that, you know, we want to have in the future. But this is the very beginning, and I think it's a big start. There are a lot of people who want us to do a whole lot more, and we're working on it. We're working on it. But I am really, truly happy about this moment. And I think that's it. I think we're going to, Ms. Williams, do you want to say anything? Dr. Donaldson, Ms. Williams.
Ms. Williams said, "Come
Ms.
to the
Williams
podium."
she said, come to the podium. She said, come to the podium.
As they come to the podium,
We're
can
gonna
we go
take a
ahead and
vote.
call the
Will you
roll?
read the roll?
Yeah, thank you. Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles? Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
And I do want to note for the record too that Rev is extremely supportive of this and glad that we're doing this today. He just isn't at this meeting. Reverend McDowell.
Mr. Mayor, I want to shock the room. I have nothing else to say. You've read it beautifully. What I know about Washington Street is actually echoed by all the people in this room. What I know about Washington Street has been shared by so many in the room. For those who want to know more, please visit the Columbia Museum of Art. There is an exhibit there called Intersection, and a very prominent feature of that exhibit includes a photograph of a man named Joe Irving, her father. It includes material from Zion Baptist Church. It includes a photograph of a young man marching in downtown Columbia in 1961. His name is Isaac Washington, who's there today. So that history is all around us.
I want to say something, and that is that the Zion Square should not go all the way up to the 1100 block. That's all the way up to Main Street. And there were black businesses. The Black Business District actually started 2 blocks from Zion, even though there was a hotel, one of the few in the city of Columbia, where blacks could come to Columbia and rent a room right across from Zion, and Zion actually owns it now. But the 10, the 9, 10, and 1100 blocks of Washington Street, and the couple of blocks over from Park Street over down to whatever, but those were businesses, and the church square would be a block or 2 around the church. So I noticed that you have 1100. My father's business was on Washington Street from 1949 until 1999, as was Jack DeVault, so many others. And we don't want to make the mistake of overlooking the Black Business District. Even though you know I support Zion in everything that it does.
Yeah, it's separate.
It's 2
Excuse me?
It's 2 separate ones. Yes,
Yes.
ma'am.
Okay, very good.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you, you did good.
We got you, Ms. Burgess. We got you.
So it's the
I didn't
business
read, I didn't
district,
see it.
800 to 1100 is the Black Business District. Yes, ma'am.
Thank
Yes,
you.
ma'am.
Come on, y'all.
Okay. You ready, Mr. Mayor?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. So we are, Mr. Mayor, maybe a week or so late, but it's okay, recognizing a very special employee at the City of Columbia, the recognition of Fire Chief Aubrey D. Jenkins for 45 years of service. Come forward, Chief Jenkins. So I know if I gave him the mic, he would take it. So just give me a minute, please. Okay, hold back for a second. So we, Chief Jenkins, are a little bit delayed getting these to you as we've been just trying to make sure it was extra special. So you've got this wonderful command staff here with you, and we want to present you with a few very special items for your years of leadership. We wanted to give you something truly special, and your command staff has really led the effort on this. I don't know if the new leather, a white leather chief's helmet is here yet. Is on the way? On the way. On the way. It's on the way. But the helmet and its color represent your status in the fire department, and there it is on the screen. On that helmet will go this new shield, this part. Yes, gentlemen? Yes, okay. And this shield is, it has the department's logo, and it's complete with the city emblem. Your name is also at the top, as well as the City of Columbia for 45 years of service. So this is beautiful. You deserve that. As well, to go along with that, there is a piece of metal wall art that's been plasma cut with a rustic look to it to illustrate the challenges you've faced and overcome in your years as fire chief. And they knew that you would really like that. It has the department logo, and again, it reads Fire Chief Aubrey Jenkins, 45 years of service. So we really hope that you cherish these items. I know you will, because you cherish a lot of items in your office. Whether it's at your house or your office, we hope that you'll forever be reminded of all you've given to this city and to us, and how much we appreciate you for your service to our citizens for all these years, Chief. And we so appreciate you. You know, I gave you a little something special to, go to halls and share with the family, Chief. Y'all gonna have to help me lift this up because it's really heavy. Facing to him, I guess. He can hold it. So thank you, Chief. We appreciate you.
Mayor, council, city manager. So I would never thought that a little boy like me who grew up in Saxon homes would ever get to this point. There were challenges then, there were challenges here, but I thank God that He has brought me this far and have not left me, nor has He forsaken me, but He kept me on the right path. 45 years ago, a young man came to the city looking for a job. Actually, I was Holbrook, so I started in law enforcement. I went to school for criminal justice. But 45 years ago, I started and they took me out back. And they said, they gave me a helmet, they gave me a coat, they gave me some boots, and they gave me some quick catch pants. They even gave me some suspenders to hold it up. And they took me back inside. First day, they said, when you see that truck move, you be on it. I didn't know fire address, had no idea. A week later, running calls, I went to a scene, and it was a terrible scene. A little 5-year-old girl burned up in the fire. Grant you, I never seen anything like that. They called me over and said, Jenkins, come here. I said, what are you calling me for? Showed me that 5-year-old girl. What that did for me, that told me that this was serious business. And at that point, I set out to learn everything that I could about the fire service. Going to school, whatever it took, studying all the time, and you can see the results. So I would tell you, I could not have done this. And I know y'all think I don't forgot my wife. I ain't forgot her. I could not have done this. I tell you one thing, and I'm gonna be so quick. I'm gonna shock all y'all. The one thing that it don't matter what I know. It don't matter what I do. If I don't have a good staff around me, everything that I know and everything that I do is in vain, because I can't do it by myself. And what you see behind me, and not only behind me, stand up, staff. What you see is collaboration, what you see is working together, and what you see is problem solving. No, as a leader, you don't know everything, but this staff is God sent, and we work together. I could not have done it without this council, Mayor, your leadership, this council. But I tell you, the other good thing about it is to have a boss that gives you opportunities, who works with you, and who can put together a good, no, not a good, team. Ms. Wilson, she really works with us, and I'm gonna put it this way, she puts up with us. Because, you know, now y'all know we can be over top sometime. But And not only Ms. Wilson, but her whole executive team, we all work so good together. And I'm just blessed to be on that team. My family is here, of course, my brother's here, the pastor, my two sisters, my Bishop Jenkins, my two sisters, my niece, they're here. Yeah, please, stand up, family. And my son is here also. I really appreciate him. But I tell you right now, I could not do any of this. You know, when a person get a call at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning and is expected to stop everything you're doing, which is sleeping, and run a call. When a person continuously phone calls all day long, when a person continue to have people reach out to you because they got issues, they got problems, and they expect for some resolution, you gotta move. Let me tell you something, and I mean this wholeheartedly. If you don't have a supported wife like I got, all this is in vain. I move a lot. And you know what? And she put up with it. You know what she do? She pray for me. She pray for me. That is the root of my success, because she prays for me. And I appreciate her. I love her to death. A lot of things I can't do because I'm always busy. But guess what? But she puts up with me, and I appreciate it. So I just say thank you all. I wouldn't trade those 45 years for anything. It is a blessing to work for the city of Columbia. I grew up in this city, and I tell you right now, I plan on retiring in this city. So when all them good things come about, Mayor, that we're doing, I'm gonna be there to enjoy the fruits of y'all labor. Because I'm gonna be sitting back and just watching. Thank you all so much for this honor. It is truly an honor. And somebody asked me, said, how much longer are you gonna do it? I'm gonna tell you like this. I'm gonna put it this way, to be continued. Okay, thank you all.
Excuse me, Mayor. I'm getting ready to go to Bible class.
Pray for your brother.
Yeah, oh, yes.
You want some pictures?
I wonder why they won't give them, but I guess it's too many. Item number 6. The mayor's campaign against breast cancer check presentation to Prisma Health Midlands Foundation. The Honorable Daniel J. Rickaman, Mayor.
Well, first of all, I want to take an opportunity to thank the mayor's campaign against breast cancer committee, Erica Sally, our chair, our clerk, our leader. Ladies, please stand up. All those on the committee, please stand up and be recognized. You know, this has been going on since Mayor Coble was here, and I gotta tell you, I always enjoyed, because it's one of the best parts about being part of a city and a city family, because you watch all our employees, our public works, every department chip in and help, cook, serve, decorate, set up. It's so important for all of us, but also the success of these events. And we're continuing to push the limits and try new things and try to grow. We raised $18,000 this year at that breakfast. While I'm excited about the 18, the reality is I wanted it to be more because I wanted to be dressed in a pink suit with pink hair on Main Street waving at everybody. But guess what? We're going to make that happen next year for sure. We're going to do it. We're going to continue to raise more and put more money in it because this is such an important cause. Prisma Health Midlands Foundation. We want to present a check to y'all. If we can do that, we're excited to do that. If y'all will come forward, the committee, please come forward as well as we do the check presentation.
Thank you, Mayor. And now item 7, an update from the Historic Columbia Foundation. Ms. Robin Waits, Executive Director.
I hate to tell you, you don't look like Robin Waits.
I was just about to say that, Mayor. I hate to disappoint everyone. Oh, you're perfectly fine. Good afternoon, Mayor Rickaman and City Council members. The Venerable Robin Waits has yielded her time to me today. My name is Roderick Shiver, as mentioned, and I have the distinct honor of serving as the new president of the Board of Trustees for Historic Columbia.
Congratulations.
This is a distinct honor that has been bestowed upon me, one which I do not take lightly, as is a significant honor I am privileged to have. Thank you for granting me this opportunity to provide a brief update on the state of Historic Columbia. At this time, I would like to acknowledge the Board of Trustee members and supporters of Historic Columbia that are here in attendance today. Please stand up. The mission of Historic Columbia is simple. We share the complex history of Columbia and Richland County through historic preservation advocacy, innovative educational programs, and strategic partnerships. With the remaining time allotted, I will attempt to condense a usually 30-minute presentation into 4 or 5 minutes. During that time, I would like to share with you the past, the present, and the future of Historic Columbia. The past. The Historic Columbia Foundation was founded in 1961 by a group of passionate community members, such as those from the Zion Baptist Church that were here, with the initial goal of saving the Ansley Hall House, which is now the Robert Mills House, from demolition. Why? Because they felt the house had a story to tell about our local history, a story to tell about our beloved city. Over the years, the City of Columbia has entrusted Historic Columbia with maintaining and managing the historical properties in which it owns, which includes the Robert Mills House, the Majeska Simpson House, and the Man Simon site. In August of 2004, when Robin Waite became the executive director of Historic Columbia, the organization had a staff of 6 members with an annual budget of, get this, $300,000 to manage 14 acres of grounds and 6 buildings. How did they get it done? I have no clue. Now let's fast forward to the present day. Historic Columbia closed the fiscal year of 2022-2023 having achieved historic financial performance. An annual budget of once $300,000 is now $2.3 million. I can tell you for certain that inflation did not play a significant role in that growth. The key drivers to that growth has been the hard work and dedication of the now 22 full-time and 20 part-time staff members that have led the charge on a daily basis. In the most recent fiscal year, Historic Columbia hosted 56 events and programs, such as walk-in tours, the Jubilee Festival, house tours, and many, many more activities. Furthermore, HC's efforts aren't confined to the historic facilities or the immaculate grounds it manages. The organization takes its knowledge and resources into local schools through a program referred to as Traveling Trunks. In February 2023, Historic Columbia engaged the services of Place Economics, a real estate and economic development firm considered the world leader in its field, to assess the economic impact that historic preservation has had on the city of Columbia. The firm is led by the world-renowned historic preservationist Donovan Rickema. There's one important fact I would like to present to you today. This is the first time an economic impact study has been commissioned to assess the impact of historic preservation and its impact on the city of Columbia. As a result of months of compiling data, performing research, and interviewing key stakeholders, the economic impact study revealed that historic preservation has had a significant impact on the city of Columbia. And if you have not had a chance or have not seen this report, I implore you to read the 60-page document. Right now, I'll point out some key factors or points in the 60-page robust document. 1, the Bailey Bill has contributed $217 million to historic renovation projects. 2, in 2022 alone, 2.2 million Heritage Tour visitors stayed overnight in the city of Columbia. 3rd and finally, the direct economic impact of historic preservation on the city of Columbia has exceeded a whopping $37 million as a result of state and local taxes. Let me repeat that again. Historic preservation has had a direct impact on the city of Columbia to the tune of a whopping $37 million. Mayor Rickman, a former business owner, you can appreciate that ROI, return on investment. Now, what does the future hold? Undoubtedly, the future is bright for the city of Columbia because of the amazing leadership we have today. The future is even brighter for the city of Columbia with the strategic partnership it has with Historic Columbia. As we press towards the future, here's a high-level overview of some, but not all, of the strategic goals we as a board have laid out for the organization. Continue to educate the community and visitors through a variety of approaches that facilitates understanding of the diverse history of the city of Columbia and Richland County. Secondly, be a vocal advocate for historic preservation. 3rd and finally, achieve financial stability through multiple revenue streams. Those are some of the strategic goals for the organization. However, none of it would be possible if it was not for the unwavering monetary and non-monetary support the city of Columbia continues to provide, and we hope in the future will continue to provide to Historic Columbia. In conclusion, the Historic Board of Trustees and staff would like to express its sincere gratitude and support that the city of Columbia has shown and the continued belief in Historic Columbia. And thank you, Mayor Rickman and the City of Columbia Council members for granting me this time to share some of the amazing work that the members at Historic Columbia is doing to impact our beautiful city in a positive manner. And I agree with you, Mayor Rickaman. Columbia is the best city in the state of South Carolina. Thank you for this time and have a wonderful evening.
Robin, we're not going to let you leave without saying something. So
I'll be here till June.
the podium is still yours. Thank you, thank you all for what you're doing. Thank you for the beautiful growth that we're seeing and what the future holds. I'm still holding out for Silent Disco at the Hampton Preston. We're going to do that yet as a fundraiser. But we really appreciate the dedication. And when you look at the history of Historic Columbia, where it's gone, and look, we all gonna be honest with each other. We don't always agree on some issues, but that's okay. What we do is try to work together on all the other issues, and I think that's what's so important. But watching it grow from where it started and where it is today is a testimony to our community. It's a testimony to the leadership there. It's a testimony to our community as a whole. And I think we can't go without recognizing that. So I thank y'all for your role and thank our citizens for their role, because it takes volunteers, it takes people to donate and believe in the mission for things to happen in our community. And, you know, we're celebrating history today. And the more you learn about, I feel like every day I'm learning something about Columbia, and I've been here for 35 years. I learn something every day about Columbia. I learn about people. I learn about history, and some that has been forgotten that some people are now making sure that we're capturing. And I hope in the future that we continue to capture all our history in one way or another. Sometimes it's bricks and mortars, but sometimes it's just the written word or the oral word. And I hope that we'll continue that. But thank you all for what you do. We appreciate it. Mr. Assistant City Manager.
Yes, sir. Next up, council is asked to consider the consent agenda at items 8 through 11.
So moved.
Got a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussions, questions, or concerns? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll, please?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
At this time, Mr. Mayor and Council, a public hearing and first reading for zoning planning matters. Again, individuals are allotted up to 3 minutes to address City Council during the public hearing items. And of course, Ms. Hampton is here to assist with these.
Thank you, Ms. Wilson.
Ms.
Good
Hampton?
evening. Your first item on the agenda tonight is an annexation, future land use map amendment, and a zoning map amendment for 2076 County Line Trail and a 7-acre portion of County Line Trail. This is a request to annex the property, assign a land use classification of urban edge residential, small lot, and a zoning of planned development district, with portions being in the flood overlay and the floodway overlay.
It is not on our screen, so I don't know if somebody's back there that they can make sure all of council has it on their screen. I have it here in my notebook, but I think they're tired of looking at my face in front of them.
I'm not tired of looking at it, Mayor.
Oh, thank you. Make me feel better. I just want to make sure everybody can see. Yeah. Not there yet. We good? Everybody sees it? I know you had a chance to look, but I just want to remind you, at this time, is there anybody who is here to speak for or against this project? Madam Clerk, did you have anybody sign up?
Not for this item.
At this time, I would entertain a motion, Mr.
Motion to
Brown.
approve.
Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Got a second? Any further discussion or questions? Madam Clerk, could you read the roll for the first reading of this?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown.
Aye.
Ms. Herbert.
Aye.
Dr. Bustles.
Aye.
Mr. Brennan.
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman.
Aye.
Thank you.
Next item is a zoning map amendment known as a rezoning for 480 South Pickens Street. It is a request to rezone the property from Employment Campus District in the Airport Safety Overlay to Residential Mixed District, also in the Airport Safety Overlay.
Is there anybody here to speak for or against this item?
Mayor, we have Mr. Toby Ward.
Good afternoon, Mr. Mayor and members of council. Thank you for the opportunity to speak very briefly about this project today. As you know from reviewing the agenda, this project enjoys staff approval. It also enjoys unanimous Planning Commission approval. I think it's fair to say that this project represents a down zone of the property, bringing it into a residential as opposed to a commercial zoning. We hope that you will support this project. I also have with me Jeff Kuhn, who is a principal of the developer Cirrus Living. He'll tell you a little bit more about the project. Also with me today is Jim Bowie, who is an adjacent property owner who also wishes to speak in favor of the project. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, thanks for having us this evening. My name is Jeff Kuhn. We're here to request a rezone for our small 1.6 acre parcel between South Pickens and South Gregg Street. With deep roots in the area, we've been working in Columbia for years, and on this particular parcel since 2016. We feel the site's an ideal candidate for a small number of highly needed infill homes. This will both increase the availability and quality of the housing stock and also help to slow down suburban sprawl and keep the tax base in the city of Columbia. It will clean up a site that's long been attractive for nuisance dumping. Unfortunately for such a small project, we've been seemingly thrown a curveball at every turn. We were hoping to break ground actually a few months ago and learned that the code had actually changed and the zoning district requires a base residential zoning for our use. Considering this, we're looking to rezone the portion of our site to RM2, which matches the zonings found for the bulk of the parcels in the area, including all parcels to the north and the west. Our site is split zoned currently with both RM2 and EC zoning present. The rezone would clean up the zoning, and as a split zone site is rarely ideal, especially in such a small project. We're not looking for any modifications to the airport overlay, which will remain in place. We're also not looking for any government incentives on this project. I understand Hamilton Owens Airport is interested in any development in the area, and we're more than happy to comply with any additional covenants needed as a part of the airport overlay district. Existing EC zoning actually allows for building up to 75 feet in height. This down zone would take it down to 50 feet, and no matter what the zoning allows, we're not planning to do anything more than 2 stories here to mimic the local development patterns in the immediate area. The down zone would also reduce lot coverage and preserve more green space compared to what's allowed in the current zoning. A portion of the site was formerly surplus land for the Columbia Housing Authority. Both the Housing Authority and the U.S. Housing and Urban Development Department have signed off on this project to allow its sale and release, and agreeing that an increase in the housing stock in the area would be a good thing. Similar new boutique developments along Superior Street, Osceola Street, Saluda Avenue, and the city-sponsored project on Wiley Street have all been well received and have proven to fit in well with the local neighborhood. We hope this is not a big ask, as we're eager to move forward on the project. The Planning Commission voted unanimously to support the rezone request. Thank you again for your time, and we hope to have your support on the request as well. We're here for any questions you may have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody have any questions for the applicant? Okay.
Mr. Mayor, Council, thank you. My name is Jim Bowie. I'm the adjacent property owner to Mr. Coon's project to the southwest. There's a triangular shape. South Gregg turns into South Saluda and Superior Street. I own the one property line adjacent to his that is not residential, it's commercial. I just came today to support his project and let you folks know that I have absolutely no contention to him doing this development. I do think it will improve the area. Mr. Coon and I did not talk about what we were going to say when we took the mic, and I was going to mention that at the bottom of South Saluda is sort of wooded on both sides of the street. It has become a dumping ground. Folks come back there, and because they are protected and no one can see them in the dark of night, they dump appliances, tires, anything else, which I'm sure the city is tired of cleaning up. This project will eliminate that. I have trash blowing from that section down to my section of property that I end up having to clean up. So not only because I believe in developing, I believe this will be an amazing project, but for that reason as well. So just wanted to say that. And while I've got the microphone, I'm not one to give it up. I've got 2 minutes and 4 seconds. I want to let you all know that I've worked on some other projects with the city, and you've got an employee within the Planning and Zoning Commission by the name of Erica Hyan. She's amazing. She's doing an awesome job, and I just wanted to put it on the record that I was going to send you an email, Mr. Mayor, and let you know that, but she is very responsive, always comes back with not only a response or can get you an answer, but with documentation to support that answer. And she's really been amazing, and I believe she works there with Mr. Chambers, who's also a great asset to the city. So thank you for your time today.
Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, Mr. Mayor, Mr. Boo, well, we have you. Let me ask you, when are you going to sell that fire engine that my son he
I
keeps
was going to
asking
talk
me?
to Chief Jenkins to see if we could work something out. I'm glad I was here for that too, because I had a fire at an apartment I owned on, as a young investor in real estate, I had an apartment on Hardin Street that caught on fire shortly after I purchased it from my brother. And he showed up personally, and I was, of course, very distraught, but he sat down, talked to me, calmed me down, and he's certainly an asset to the city, and I was very happy to be here today to see his presentation. So thank you all for that.
Completely agree with you on the extreme illegal dumping in this area, specifically at this property. So thank you for bringing that up.
Yeah, thank you.
Madam Clerk?
Yes, we have Mr. Jesse Burke.
I'm Jesse Burke. I own the property known as 533 South Saluda Avenue, which is directly across South Gregg Street from this piece of property. I'm here to speak in opposition to rezoning. Y'all, I'd sent in a copy of the topo map. Y'all should have it. This little parcel is a bowl. There's a 20-foot drop in elevation from the edge of South Gregg Street 3/4 of the way across the lot. And then it empties into a big culvert going under the street. If you look, the contours form a horseshoe around it, and all the adjacent property on 3 sides, all the stormwater runs into this lot. And it's basically a detention pond or a small swamp till the water drains off. It also has a number of large trees. When I purchased my lot at the end of South Saluda, one thing the city asked of me was not to touch the large trees. I sure had no intention of touching the large trees. Well, this lot has a number of large trees, and if you tried to fill it, it would kill the trees. And if they want to build residential in it, they'd end up cutting the trees down anyway. A little of my background, I've got 3 engineering degrees, including a degree in civil engineering. My practice is as a structural engineer. And putting foundations on 20 foot of fill, not a good idea. So I would urge y'all to oppose rezoning this because it's not really suitable for building. Any questions?
I have any questions? Thank you for being here.
No, Mr. Mayor, I did ask Clint Shealy. Thank you for sending that info today, Mr. Burke, head of Columbia Water, Stormwater, the sensitivity of our infrastructure in the the Rosewood Edisto Court community. Can you respond to kind of his comments and the information he sent today?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Councilman, and thank you, Mr. Burke, I did review your comments from the, earlier this morning, and just as an assurance, the developer, anytime someone's developing a piece of property in the city, they're required to meet all of our engineering regulations. That includes stormwater, so pre-runoff and post-runoff quality and quantity have to equalize as part of our engineering review. And so that'll be part of that. This area is also located in a special protection zone of Gills Creek, so there won't be any variances or anything like that available to the developers. So the pre and post-runoff quality and quantity will have to equalize. So our team will take a very close look at that once we get the development submittal.
Great. Thank you for those comments.
Thank you.
Is there anyone else who'd like to speak on this issue?
No one else has signed up.
Move for approval.
Got a motion?
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Any further comments? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles? Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Your final item on the agenda is an amendment to the Unified Development Ordinance to update the use regulations to permit minor utility facilities in the Transitional and Conservation District. I want to thank Hope Hasty, our zoning administrator. She identified this as a need. Minor utilities are permitted in every district but this one, and we have utilities in all of our cities, so we need to amend this to permit those minor utilities.
Is there anybody here to speak for or against this updated use and regulations?
No one signed up.
No one signed up. I'll entertain a motion.
So move.
A motion, is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll, please?
Mr. Bailey? Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
That concludes your zoning public hearing. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Hampton.
Thank you, Krista.
Thank you, Krista. Mr. Mayor, Council, we will move into a period of resolutions. Item 15, resolution number R 2024-008, authorizing the city manager to execute a memorandum of understanding between Richland County, South Carolina, the city of Columbia, South Carolina, and South Carolina Water Utilities, PUI, Inc.
Motion to approve?
Got a motion, is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion, questions, comments? The memo provided us pretty much provides all the information we need. That, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Yes, sir. Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Event resolutions, item 16 is resolution number R 2024-002, authorizing consumption of beer, wine, and liquor at the Main Street Latin Festival in the 1300 and 1400 blocks of Main Street and the eastern half block of the 1100 block of Washington Street between Assembly Street and Main Street on Saturday, August 24, 2024, with a rain contingency date of Saturday, August the 31st, 2024.
So move.
Second.
Got a motion and a second. Any questions or concerns? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Item 17, resolution number R 2024-003, authorizing consumption of beer, wine, and liquor at the St. Pat's and Five Points Festival and authorizing the city manager and the Parks and Recreation Director to sign park rules for the St. Pat's and Five Points Festival on Saturday, March the 16th, 2024.
Is there a motion?
So move.
Got a motion, a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Madam Clerk, could you read the roll, please?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Other matters, number 18, council is asked to approve the fiscal year 2023-2024 contract renewal for services related to the retention of military personnel, services and operations located at Fort Jackson as requested by the Economic Development Department, the award to the Greater Columbia Chamber of Commerce in the amount of $53,500, which does not include an increase. This firm is located in Columbia, South Carolina.
So moved. Is there a second?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any questions? Hearing none, seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Item 19, at this time, I would ask Ms. Missy Kaufman, our Budget Program Management and Grants Director, to come forward in case there are any questions regarding the special revenue allocations.
Does anybody have any questions? I'm assuming everybody read the memo. With that, Madam Clerk, we're looking at 4 items here. Robert Mills renovations for Historic Columbia, Southern Songwriters, SCTV Foundation, Black Expo, and there's some gentlemen in the crowd. What do y'all call that organization again?
Omega Sci-Fi.
Omega Phi Psi Regional Meeting. Is there any questions on the allotments and the requests? Seeing none, hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve.
And a motion and a second.
Second.
Madam Clerk, read the roll.
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
And thank you, Mayor and Council, to acknowledge Mr. Tony Grant and the representatives from Omega Sci-Fi are here if they'd like to stand.
I have a feeling y'all gonna paint the town little purple and gold.
Purple.
Purple and gold.
I would also like to acknowledge while I'm here that March 1st opens up the next round of hospitality tax grant applications for the fiscal year 24-25 period. We will be having training for potential applicants next week, February 29th. Tina Saxon will be hosting training for applicants, and then the accommodations tax period will open on April the 1st.
Can you make sure you send all that to us so that we can make sure we put it out on social? A lot of people have been calling, and I think people have got wrong dates. I want to make sure that, especially there's some new folks that are applying, that they understand the process. You can get the right forms and stuff in ahead of time.
Absolutely, and Public Relations, Marketing, and Media is also publishing a presser on that, as well as other notifications. We'll make sure those things are included. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Mayor, I'm not sure if this is proper procedure, but some of the brothers from Omega Sci-Fi, they've been here for a while. I was wondering if anybody wants to say anything about.
I heard them, they said thank you.
Well, thank you so very much. We're very humble and honored. Dr. Bustles and Mayor, Mr. Brennan, Ms. Bailey, Mr. Bailey, Ms. Herbert, and my good friend Peter. Of course, Mr. Mayor, we've been friends a long time. I'd also like to take a point of personal privilege and thank City Manager Wilson, and also my good friend. I've been talking to him. I talked to him last night, and he said, be prepared to talk in case they call you. But also City Manager Wilson and Assistant City Manager Kaufman. We're praying for Ed. He's been intricately involved. As I said, I spoke to him last night. We have with us Mr. Georges, Al Georges. We also have our immediate past boss, Doyle Colvert. Come up here, Baron, please. Dr. Davis is our district marshal. He's the marshal for the meeting. And also, we also have our CPA with us,
Mr.
He's
Ed
just here to
Barbie.
make you look good. I know how that works.
Y'all know I can't count. And I also have one of the most important persons in my life, my oldest son, Mr. Hamilton Grant, and who tells me what to do, in addition to his mother and his siblings. Thank you all so very much. We thank you. We're honored to bring the 79th annual meeting here, and we are prayerful that it will we'll spend a lot of money.
We're excited, Tony. I think it's our privilege to host this conference because if I remember historically, this might only be the second time that it's ever been in Columbia at all. Is that correct?
That is correct.
So, no, very excited that it'll be here. I know that, and anything we can do to make sure that people have the best time ever so that they want to come back to Columbia.
And you've done it already. There was an issue on the front end where there was an effort to try to take it elsewhere. City manager got involved, along with the president of the convention center got involved, and of course, all these brothers here, we were able to turn it and bring it back here. So thank you so very much.
Well, you're being really kind because you know you're my mentor, but my daddy said, make sure his brothers are taken care of, and this needs to be a Columbia. So what else was I gonna do? Your brother told me what to do, and you? Yeah, that part.
Well, thank you all so very much. We don't want to take up your time, but
Thank
we're
y'all for
extremely
what-
grateful and very, very appreciative to all of you. And I hope you know that. So thank you so very much. God
Tell
bless you all.
Helen I said hello. Thank you.
I think it's a period of reports, referrals, and new business, Mr. Mayor.
Yes, I have one referral. I'd like to refer the St. John Career Development Center Workforce Development Program proposal, better known as the Pathway to Employment, to the Economic Development Committee for discussion, if they'll accept it.
Absolutely.
Anybody else have a referral to committee?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, I have a referral for my committee that I'm on, which is the Health, Social, Environmental Committee concerning rental housing regulations and amending the ordinance to prevent situations where tenants are often being displaced in older properties. The amendment would add a designation to what an emergency event is. It will also designate high-risk properties as buildings built 1980 or before with 16 units or 4 stories high. And this came about the recent Columbia Rising fire where there were 34 individuals displaced, 12 units were destroyed. This is also on the heels of the situation with the colony. In many of these situations, there have been numerous amounts of code violations that are considered extreme violations under the International Property Management Code and the International Fire Code. And if a housing official or fire marshal deemed an event emergency event, then some measures would kick in. I just want to let the public know briefly about some of those measures. This will require high-risk properties to have an emergency operations plan, which would outline actions to be taken by the owner or management company. There will be a means of notifying tenants of the nature of an urgency or emergency event, steps that the owner or management company regarding information being transmitted to the tenants, also steps the owner will provide to make sure tenants have a place to stay when they're temporarily displaced. And our city attorney's office has been working very hard on holding management companies accountable when they have really been doing an injustice to tenants and they don't have all the tools. This ordinance, I believe, to our rental housing ordinance would make us have a lot of tools to really hold people accountable. So hopefully, after this goes to committee, we can get the support of full council, we can make a change. And Ms. Weber, who's in the crowd, she came up to me a couple weeks ago about her being displaced, and the city attorney's office worked really quick on it. And Chief Aubrey Jenkins gave me some other incidents With Willow Run Apartments, 36 individuals were displaced back in 2021. You had Tropical Ridge Apartments, 21 individuals displaced after a 3-alarm fire, a firefighter fatality in that case with James Muller. And then you also had Whispering Pine Apartments, where 12 individuals were displaced. A 6-year-old girl died and 8 units were uninhabitable. So this will allow us to step up in situations, and hopefully council can get on board after we work out the kinks.
Is there any other referrals?
No, but Madam City Clerk, if we could put that on the April agenda, I think our March agenda is very full. We can delve into it.
With that, a motion to accept the pathways to employment and the rental adjustments. What's the name of your ordinance?
An amendment to the rental housing
Amendment to
ordinance.
the rental. We got a motion, and is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert?
Aye.
Dr. Bustles?
Aye.
Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman?
Aye.
Thank you.
Is there any new business or reports that need to be shared this time?
I'd like to have a report on the Economic Development and Infrastructure Committee meeting, but since most of the meeting was done in executive session, is there some nuance of reporting and generalities? Okay. I'll just leave it at this. There's a lot of amazing stuff going on in Columbia, South Carolina from an economic development standpoint. There's a pipeline that I think is likely never been in Columbia and probably most other cities our size. I think you have action in front of the city that's going to be super, not just positive, but I think transformational for the city. So I just want to tell everyone to stay tuned. There's a lot of great things going on, and the support of council, the staff, and everybody in Columbia is certainly well warranted and appreciated. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else have anything else to add? Okay, with that, Madam City Manager?
Yes, sir. I think that is it. I'm sure you all may be hearing about a walk tomorrow to encourage heart awareness with the American Heart Association as one of their ambassadors. We're going to be doing that at 10:30, starting at Washington Square, walking to the State House. So if anyone wants to join us, feel free. And I think that is all we have, Mr. Mayor. Any public input at this time? Individuals, again, are allotted up to 3 minutes to address City Council about matters not on the agenda.
Madam Clerk, do you have anyone signed up?
Yes, sir.
All right.
Ms. Michelle Huggins?
She just left. I just watched her walk out.
Mr. Wade Fulmer?
He was here. I think he left.
All right. And last but not least, Mrs. Frances Weber.
Ms. Weber? Good evening. You could, if you'll just pull down the mic, because we're going to make sure we capture all your words.
Yes.
Thank you.
My name is Frances Weber, and I was involved in a house fire on January 23rd, 24, and we lost everything in the apartment complex.
Take your time. Take your time, Ms. Weber.
And we went to Data. We went today to walk through the apartment complex, and they took a lot of our items out of our apartment and took all of our televisions, our electronics, and games out of the kids' room, took all my church hats, half a rack of my church clothes, They call me First Ladies on Sunday because that's how I dress to go to church. And they went in the bedroom and they took stuff all out of the drawers. And they took my insulin out of the Frigidaire. And if it wasn't for my daughter, I would be homeless. I wouldn't have any place to go. I want to thank Mr. Bailey Mr. Bailey for helping me during all of this ordeal. It has been a hardship on me. And I get in my car and I go around the street and cry because I don't want my family to see me cry because I'm hurting. And I just want to thank you for your time and patience.
And Mr. Mayor, one thing about the rental housing referral, it also has a requirement that management companies board up or at least prevent people from ransacking apartments when they've been forced to leave there when they're uninhabitable. And people know that, and they're taking advantage of those situations, stealing TVs, clothes, and things like Ms. Weber has gone through. So that's one thing I think is the easy fix that will prevent stuff like this happening to people like Ms. Weber.
Thank you for moving it forward. Ms. Weber, we'll be praying for you. Madam Clerk, did you have anyone else? Is there anyone else who wanted to speak at this time? If not, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn. You got a motion? Is there a second?
Second.
Madam Clerk, could you read the roll?
Mr. Bailey?
Aye.
Mr. Brown?
Aye.
Ms. Herbert? Dr. Bustos? Mr. Brennan?
Yes.
Mayor Rickaman? Have a good evening.